Mindset isn't fixed or static. It is something that can be shifted, redirected, and even transformed. And when we learn how to shift our mindset, we gain the ability to completely reshape our lives. Our mindset determines whether we see challenges as obstacles or opportunities, whether we approach life with optimism or pessimism, whether we believe in our own potential or doubt ourselves at every turn. We'll explore 5 powerful questions that will help you shift your mindset from focusing on problems to discovering solutions. We'll start with embracing growth opportunities. Does it sometimes feel like life keeps throwing you curveballs along the way? Well, instead of seeing them as obstacles, try seeing them as opportunities for personal growth. When you ask yourself this question, what opportunity for personal growth is this challenging situation presenting me with? You're actually shifting your perspective from seeing problems to finding solutions. You're not only becoming stronger and wiser, but also empowering yourself to overcome any obstacle that comes in your way. Plus, asking yourself this question helps move you away from feeling like a victim and instead focusing on what you can learn or the good qualities that you can gain from these difficult experiences. Now, one of my clients found herself in a relationship with her partner, her husband, and she had left her country, she had left her family, she had left her comfort zone, everything she had grown up with, to be with this man that she loved. But she was miserable, blaming herself and her partner for leaving everything she knew and loved behind. She was creating constant conflict with her partner, and no matter what he did, it wouldn't be enough. It didn't make her happy. So in my session with her, I asked her, well, what opportunity for personal growth are you being presented with by being so far away from everything you know? Now, she thought to herself for a moment. It was like she had never asked herself that question. And she told me, when I was younger, it was my dream to study abroad, but we couldn't afford it. My father was going through tough times, and it just wasn't possible for me to go and study and get my degree. And as she started to recognize that was something she had missed out on, but being where she was right now was actually offering her that very same opportunity and experience to study, to receive that experience that she had always wished for, that what she had missed out on. Just recognizing the opportunity she was being given by being in this different country, being far away from everything she had known. That was something that was actually precious. And just recognizing this, realizing this, it allowed her to move from feeling pain to being grateful for the opportunity, the experience, even though it had taken her so far away from home. So this is a great question to ask when you feel like you're in a situation where you feel challenged, where you feel like nothing is going right for you, or it just feels like everything is wrong and everything is just painful or negative. Look for the good thing, the opportunity. Look for the trait you can develop. Perhaps it's patience, perhaps it's perseverance. There's always something that you can get from every negative experience, and that in itself, recognizing what you can get from it that's positive, actually turns it into a pretty worthwhile situation. Question number 2 is choosing your response. Have you ever reacted impulsively in a difficult situation only to regret it later? Well, when you pause and ask yourself, how do I want to show up in this moment? Who do I want to be? You're giving yourself the power to choose your response. It's like tapping into that wiser part of you that knows how to handle challenges with grace and integrity. By consciously choosing how you want to show up, you're taking control of the situation and aligning your actions with your values. It's all about being intentional and bringing your best self to every moment. Now, the other day, I found myself getting frustrated with my kids because they were not getting ready for bed. They were playing, they weren't listening, and I found myself raising my voice with frustration. As I heard that irritation in my voice, I asked myself, is this who I want to be? Yelling at my kids, being that kind of mother, knowing that if I keep doing this, they'll just learn how to tune me out? I mean, that's what happened with my mom. Do I want that for me? So I took a deep breath in. I counted from 1 to 5. Then I softened my tone and I turned it into a game. First one to brush their teeth will get tucked in by me. They both ran to the room, brushed their teeth immediately, and I smiled to myself and said, score, I've got this. Question number 3 is about challenging your narrative. We all have stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves, but sometimes those stories can hold us back. Now, when you ask yourself, what is the story that I'm telling myself about me in this situation? Well, you're shining the light on that negative pattern or negative belief that's probably limiting you and getting in your way. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're not good enough or that you'll never succeed. By challenging these limiting beliefs and replacing them with a more empowering narrative, you're rewriting that script of your life. And this allows you to recognize that you have the power to change that narrative and to create a completely different version of your life. Now, in the work I do with single women who are struggling with love and they want to find their special someone, I've noticed that many have this ongoing story in their heads, often shaped by past experiences. And that ends up dictating their beliefs about love. Whether it's that, men will cheat on them, or there's no such thing as a loyal partner, or perhaps that if they're in a relationship, they will get abused. Now, these stories become their reality because they expect every relationship to turn out that way. And so all they're doing is recreating their fears or even bringing their fears into their reality. And guess what? These stories they tell themselves about love, these are stories that they might have inherited from perhaps family members, from people that they've witnessed around them. They aren't the truth, okay? It's just something that's been handed down to them, and they've made it real in their own life experiences by constantly anticipating it, or sometimes even choosing men who actually make those realities true for them. It's a bit like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So they stay single, closed off to love, because they're convinced it'll only bring more of that same old pain. But guess what? They can change that story. They can change that narrative. When we identify those negative stories they tell themselves and we let them go, then true enough, their reality, their experiences change. Now, question number 4 is really focused on simplifying and streamlining. Now, if you find yourself making things more complicated than they need to be in your life, you might want to ask yourself this question: is there an easier way to do this? Why am I making it harder? When you do that, you're actually getting to the root of the issue. It's like questioning if we're trying to prove something, either to ourselves or others. I remember that when I was younger, I thought that I had to pull all-nighters or work all the time. I had to be like a workaholic to prove that I was really dedicated to my job. And somewhere deep down inside, it came from this feeling that I wasn't taken seriously, that my family members thought I was too busy partying and enjoying my life to make anything of myself. And so I was making things harder just to prove that I was dedicated, that I was a hard worker, and that I would do whatever it takes because I was serious about making it. And so often we make things more difficult than they need to be. And there is a hidden reason for that. So check in with yourself. Why am I making things so difficult? Why am I making it harder on myself? Question number 5 is confronting your fears. Fear can be a very powerful force that holds us back from reaching our full potential. But what if you could confront your fears head on and reclaim your power? Now, when you ask yourself, what's the worst that will happen if the fear I have were to actually come true, if I were to be faced with it? What's the worst that could happen? By doing that, you're shining a light on the root of your fears. You're actually walking through the fear in your head and trying to see what's on the other side of it. When I actually share this question with my clients, most of them realize there's nothing to fear. Nothing will actually happen. Sometimes the truth is there's nothing to fear. And other times the truth is there's another fear beneath the fear. By asking these questions, you actually go on that journey of self-discovery and you try to figure out what's really going on in your mind. When you actually go through the fear and then you start to acknowledge the worst case scenario, you're taking away their power over you and you're freeing yourself to actually move forward with courage and confidence. Now, let me tell you about how I conquered one of my fears by asking myself this very question. I had to do a talk in front of an audience of over 1,000 people. I was nervous, stressed, uncomfortable as the date of the event loomed closer. So I decided to sit down and do some work on myself to get more comfortable and confident about speaking in front of so many people. I asked myself, well, what's the worst that can happen if I get up on stage in front of so many people? Right away, I thought, I might say the wrong thing. And if I did, then I'm going to look really stupid on stage and everyone's going to judge me for it. So really, I was afraid of being judged if I said the wrong thing. This recognition brought up a memory of being interviewed on live TV in Dubai over 15 years ago. I was asked a question and unknowingly, I gave a politically insensitive answer, mostly because the politics of that situation wasn't very relevant to me personally, though it was to others. Now, when I said that, I could feel everyone's eyes on me who were on the set with me. My cheeks burned with embarrassment, and I wish I could have disappeared or the ground would have opened up and swallowed me right then and there. Now, just going through that memory and understanding where all of this was coming from allowed me to figure out where my fear was stemming from. I did some work on forgiving myself for saying that wrong thing, recognizing my intentions were never to offend anyone. And this situation also taught me a very important lesson about being culturally sensitive and respectful of my audience. Fast forward a bunch of years, I'm actually a speaker who gets on stages to speak. And if I hadn't conquered my fear, which was rooted in that past traumatic event, I don't think I would have ever allowed myself to get on future stages or find success in speaking. And interestingly enough, speaking is something that I am very passionate about. I love doing it. And it feels very aligned with my mission and purpose. And so the events of my life made sure I learned or conquered the fears that I needed to so that I could actually get on that path of my purpose and my mission. Now, because I know how valuable these questions that I have shared with you today are, I made you a cheat sheet, which lists all 5 of these questions and cues you on when to use them. Download your free copy so you can refer to it anytime you need it. You can also find it linked in the description below. Now, as we close, remember these empowering words. What consumes your mind controls your life. So do you want your fear to control you? Or do you want to get yourself moving towards solutions and possibilities and opportunities instead of staying stuck? Let's choose to shift our mindset from being stuck in our problems to being empowered by possibilities. Until next time, keep shining bright. You are loved.